I feel like I don't need to introduce you, but of course I should. So, my good friend Fred, otherwise known as PanFREDNoodoh, here on Twitch, calls his community the Nudo House. Welcome, Fred.
Thank you for having me. I'm really, really excited to hang out with you. I mean, I know we hang out in each other's streams, but to like talk to each other, and I mean like face to face, internet face to
Face to
face,
face? Yeah. Webcam
is
to
always
webcam.
nice. Right, webcam to webcam, and get your facial reactions and my facial reactions is always nice. So it's a pleasure to be here, and I'm really honored that you invited me over.
Well, I'm glad to have you. You are one of the first people in the Lego community on Twitch that really welcomed me with open arms, and I know that that's just who you are. I've seen you do the same for so many people, and I really appreciate it. It's just been a fantastic experience being involved with the Lego community, right on, like, here on Twitch. I never expected to be so close to so many people on, like, here, and I just got to thank you for that, Fred. It's been fantastic.
It's a pleasure.
That
Honestly, I'm carrying it forward from the same level of welcoming that I received. Uh, I think it's if I'm not mistaken, you mentioned that April was in here, and shout out to April. She was one of the first people to welcome me in the same way you mentioned I welcomed you, along with Sapiens and Between the Bricks, Dan. Those are the people that welcomed me and made me feel part of this awesome community. So it's definitely you know paying that forward for sure, and kind of living up to this really wonderful reputation that the Lego community on Twitch has.
you can feel the love. You can feel the love. April sending the love straight to you. For those of you that don't really know Fred, I guess if they were to if they saw the name PanFREDNoodoh on Twitch, or you were to pitch, I guess, the idea of the channel and the community of what the Nudo House is about, how would you describe that to someone who's not really familiar with it?
Mm. I've heard it been like even from the very beginning. There were a couple of people that I didn't know at first. They were strangers through Twitch that would describe the Noodle House as the warmest community on Twitch, almost like a bowl of noodles. And
Yeah,
so, I pride myself on in our community on that just raw kind of statement alone of being warm, welcoming, positive, and loving. And so it's definitely a community that has plenty of hobbies and interests, mainly centered around those that are geeky and nerdy, and especially now so with Lego. But
right.
my elevator pitch would definitely be a place where people can come to feel welcomed, have a place to escape some of the negativity, and find themselves in a place that will welcome them and not judge them for their opinions on everything nerdy, geeky, and all things now Lego.
That's I think that's actually a perfect way to describe it. As someone who's been in your channel many times, uh, I think that with the Nudo House, I love that you call it the Nudo House. I think a lot of communities and channels strive to, like, come up with something clever or something fun to call their channel and or their community. And when I first came into the Nudo House, and you were already calling it that, I was like, oh, this is going to be good. Like, I knew nothing about you. I saw you were building Lego. Uh, I, s- I think that's correct. I think that's very accurate in, like, Fred's channel and community is so, like, warm and welcoming, and I I love how you equate it to a nice bowl of noodles. So That's so dead like accurate. Now you're into Lego, of course,
Hmm.
but you're also into Star Wars,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
That is pretty common. I mean, we see that a lot in the community, but
Hmm.
you take it a step further and you
Hmm.
also do some cosplay.
I do.
Tell
Hmm.
me about how the cosplay plays into the whole thing.
Sure. So one of the first and one, large communities that I found myself kind of intermingling with is the Star Wars community. And then it just kind of boiled down to the cosplay community. I've always been one that has been intrigued by it. I mean, obviously, as a lot of collectors go, they have all the action figures and all of the models of the ships and what have you. But to take it a step further and be the action figure has always been
Yeah.
like really intriguing to me. And I have a friend of mine, his name is Nino, who had joined the 501st before I did, well before I did, and he took me
Hmm.
to be a wrangler. So basically that helps out those that are in costume and kind of just shows them where to step, if they need water, if they need something to be fixed on their armor, and maybe even facilitate the people that want to take pictures with them or what have you.
Yeah.
And so I was taken on to be a wrangler for him. But on top of looking really awesome as a stormtrooper for Nino, the fact that it was being done for a charitable event, a charity event. It was a relay for life. Those who were uh, kind of logging in steps and mileage to walk for their loved ones, or even for them who have survived cancer, or for cancer research for the American Cancer Society, and raise money for cancer research. And I've always heard that the 501st has done that. We'll go visit children's hospitals. I mean, obviously pre-Panini when that was a thing, and do all sorts of really cool events, not just like the high profile ones where you see stormtroopers in the background of a premiere, or or what have you. Or we hear about the 501st members who are extras on the set of Mandalorian. But first and foremost, their thing is charity and putting uh, smiles on the faces of kids and adults alike. And I think once I saw that at that event, that's what motivated me. And the first thing that I kind of gravitated towards was my first memories of Star Wars in wanting to be a pilot,
Yeah.
and pretending that the clothes hamper and the laundry basket that I was in was the cockpit of my X-wing, was the cockpit of my
I
TIE
love it.
fighter, and flying through the trenches of the Death Star. And so that's what had me choose like the pilots first. I have a TIE pilot approved by the 501st. It's a screen accurate TIE pilot costume that I wear to 501st events,
Yeah.
and I'm currently working on an X-wing pilot, and it all boils down to my very first memories of little Panfred Nudo sitting in a
Oh
laundry
man.
basket, having Star Wars: A New Hope playing on the TV, and pretending that I was flying side by side with Luke to blow up the Death Star. Like that's essentially it. But as I did more and more events and saw like these kids, I did a event at Dodger Stadium. It was an Autism Speaks event, in
Hmm.
which we were there hanging out with those children with autism, and their families, and in support of them and their families, and just watching these kids light up the same way I did when I saw characters like in one-to-one scale. Like it's like I have an action figure of you at home,
That's
and I'm
so
excited
cool.
to see it in one to one. And so that's kind
Yeah.
of what motivated me, was that very first event, thanks to Nino who brought me on and was like, "This is what it's about. Yes, you look cool,
Yeah.
but really, you don't look cool just for kicks and giggles. You look cool too, for a reason, for a community, for smiles, for love, and showing people that."
That's amazing. That is such a cool cause too. Like to be able to bring this passion that you have for Star Wars and cosplay and being able to look like some of the characters, uh, but then you know kind of bring over that and still do something, uh, you know, helpful and doing things for other groups. I think that's a really cool way to blend your your interest as well as like making a positive impact as well. So that's really cool. I didn't know that about you. I remember you kind of getting into it right around I think the beginning of the pandemic. Is that
Mhm.
correct? Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. So I mean, I'd made friends with the 501st members, and as you know, as a lot of people did during lockdown, just dove headfirst into hobbies that they had always toyed with or at least thought about.
Right.
And that was one of those things where I was like, well, I've always said it. Here's the time. The time is now. What better time than now to just jump, head first. And I know being self-conscious about just my appearance has always been a thing. But it's getting over that was a gateway to cosplay, a gateway to Twitch, and but yeah, I jumping into cosplay and doing that, and finally doing that over lockdown, and kind of acquiring pieces very slowly but surely with the help
Mm-hmm.
of some of the 501st members that I know was it. And then obviously, as a lot of people did, I'm sure that our Star Wars fans sit there and watch Star Wars, and a lot
Yeah.
of it during lockdown. And the more
Yeah.
and more I see, the more and more those core memories are like unlocked again. You're just like, dude, this is it. This is what I want to do. And I've always said it, and so now I'm just gonna execute. And so with stories like those, with kids, making core memories for them, and doing that, like what Star Wars, the movies did for me, is
Hmm.
super fun, super rewarding. A reward that I'd never thought that never crossed my mind really, you know.
I'm glad that you're paying it forward, right? That joy that
Mhm,
Star Wars brings to you as a fan for since you were a little Fred, right?
mhm,
And
mhm.
then now here you are, dressed as a a TIE fighter pilot and doing your thing. That's incredible. Is there any events coming up soon that you're looking into doing, or is there any that you plan on attending at some point?
Sure, it's been really tough. I know, obviously, over the course of the holidays, with the rise of the variant, a lot of those events kind of shut down. I
Yeah.
know a big one that's coming up is up in May
Hmm.
of this year, so just a couple months will be Star Wars Celebration here in Anaheim. So typically, when that happens, everybody shows up, whether it's 501st approved cosplay, just their own, original character cosplays, everything and anything in between. And so I'm very much looking forward to Star Wars Celebration. It's just a big gathering of a lot of people, of a lot of Star Wars fans, big and small.
Hmm.
Um, that will get together and do that. And so I've made some pretty cool friends that I've met through the internet that I, just meet
Yeah.
for the first time at events like this. So, like, for example, I did C2E2, or Chicago Comic and Entertainment Expo, a couple
Yeah.
months ago,
Yeah.
and met people for the first time through that, and had known them through the internet, kind of like our Twitch family. You just get to know them on the internet, and you finally meet them like in
Yeah.
real life. And so I've
Yeah.
made some really lifelong friends this way. And so that celebration is probably the biggest that is kind of upcoming for my
Yeah.
type pilot.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to just hearing how that event will go for you, and I'm excited that you'll get to do something at least in a couple months. I think that,
Sure.
dude, keep that up. I think the cosplay stuff is amazing. I've seen a lot of your photos from it on Instagram, so I think that's fantastic. With the cosplay around the beginning of the pandemic, you also took up streaming.
Mhm.
Do I remember that correctly?
That's correct. Yeah, that's right.
So tell me about how PanFREDNoodoh started streaming and what that was like.
Sure, sure. Again, it was one of those things where I had watched and consumed a decent amount of Twitch prior to me starting myself. Uh,
Hmm.
my first experiences with Twitch was through the Destiny community. And what I really liked about the Destiny community on Twitch, of course, there's the bad eggs. There's some people that can be, a little toxic, just like any gaming community.
Right.
But
Right.
with a game like Destiny, it's centered, especially the end game content, around people helping each other succeed, whether it's through strikes, whether it's through the higher level Crucible or PvP content, or
Hmm.
especially what the thing that I dove into all the time, which were the raids, which were 6-man, 6-player activities, end game activities where you get the highest level stuff, which means you had to coordinate with 5 other people. And let's face it, it's tough to even coordinate with one other person to
Yeah.
hop into a game.
Yeah.
And so I really enjoyed that aspect of Twitch, and I've always been fascinated with creating a community of people centered around, one or a couple of central ideas and
Hmm.
ideologies. And so when I first started, it was definitely more so gaming. It was variety gaming, but had always been centered around that one thing that I always felt and valued about Twitch, which was community.
Right.
And so playing games with others, experiencing these things with others. One of the first games that I played was Fall Guys, and I always kept it like, once it was available for everybody, I made it
Yeah.
a point to play with viewers as best I can, um, and to win together, and
Right.
experience these fun and weird things together. Played story games and experienced things like Until Dawn together.
Oh, that's
Uh,
great.
yeah, and so
I love both those games.
right, and it was
Yeah.
definitely more so about community, and especially at a time during lockdown, which community was very, very hard to come by.
Yeah.
And I know for me too, I don't know if I would 100% consider myself an extrovert, but I did like to go out, meet people, be around people, hang out with like-minded people, and people that like the same things. And the best way to go about it in the safest way was to do it through the through the internet. And
Yeah. Yeah.
so uh community was the main focus and still is, and I value that, and I'm glad that it's evolved to the Noodle house it is today. But it
Yeah.
was all about community in starting on Twitch. So again, I just kind of started acquiring the little, different parts and pieces, all the basics, like a basic webcam and things of that sort, a basic PC, which I still kind of am running on now, like just kind of the bare minimum, and
Yeah.
just started going at it with the games that I enjoyed, and then building communities based off the stuff that I, enjoy. Only to really let myself be me for the first time in a long time, and attract those who are like-minded or who are the same. And that's always been a thing too, as much as I've been really self-conscious about my appearance or who I
Mhm.
am. A lot of the time, especially in a professional setting, has always been like a closet geek. um but to really just let that loose, that to unapologetically be me, only to attract those who are basically down with the same stuff. Because if I
Right.
hide those things, then I'm not going to create a community based on things that I actually like. It's just going to be a fake me, and like a fake quote unquote community, or a community that's based off of things that I'm just mildly like, or kind of like. But I always, went into it with being unapologetically me, and hopefully even motivating others to be unapologetically themselves, so that they too can be part of this community. They too can create their own communities around them, and feel good about who they are and who they're made to be.
That's really that's amazing. I think that I mean you said a lot of great things in there. But one of the things I want to kind of touch on a little more is the you wanting to be yourself and kind of being this your true self, right? And kind of
Mhm.
wanting to encourage people who see your channel or who take part in your content to feel the same way. And I
Mhm.
think that is probably one of the greatest things I've experienced since uh, joining. your community and seeing you do your thing every week on Twitch is that I can comfortably say that Fred is completely unapologetically himself when with streaming, and I think that's what really one has made me appreciated you and your channel, but two also really gives that sense of welcome inclusion, right? Because I think a lot of us don't give ourselves enough credit when we watch these people on Twitch, other
Sure.
streamers and creators, and we
Hmm.
find that I think it's pretty easy for us to tell when people are just not being themselves for whatever
Sure.
reason, right?
Hmm.
And I appreciate that you do that, that you show who you are, and that you're like, hey, this is who I am. Join me in a Nudo dance, or let me
Yeah.
do an R&B shout out.
Right. Right. Right.
So that I think that's great. I'm going to call out something Prophet DNA said in chat. He says, I didn't think it could have been more possible to respect Tito Fred any further, but this is freaking amazing on his outlook on life. And I have to second that, and I completely agree. So I
I
think,
appreciate that.
yeah, man, of course. I appreciate what you do. So we spoke about and kind of touched on the Nudo dance, right?
Yes. Yes.
For those that don't know what the Nudo dance is, completely cold, like how would you explain what that is to someone who doesn't even know what the Nudo dance might be?
Sure. The Nudo dance is a channel point redemption at the Nudo house on the Twitch stream. And basically, as you are there, you accumulate channel points to, redeem things that happen on stream. But most importantly, one of the biggest redemptions is a Nudo dance, in which it's at its core a random dance party in the middle of a Lego brick building stream. And
Right.
I encourage everybody to just get hype. Anybody that is available or able to, type in chat and just spam all their emotes, all the hype, and go crazy. Like just a good just release of energy and good vibes and just hype to kind of break up what was a chill, cozy sesh of Lego building,
Right.
but to bring in some hype and get the blood pumping and bring some positivity to people. I think
I love
that's
it.
the biggest thing with the Nudo dance. It stemmed actually from when I was playing video games on stream, and I would be
Really.
playing something like, for example, Fall Guys or something, or I'm playing PvP Destiny or something.
Right.
And so it was a way to kind of screw me up or kind of get me to do something other than actually play the game. So I'd be sitting there with a controller or like on mouse and keyboard and like doing dance moves and whatever, like
Oh man.
in like while I'm playing or whatever, or I'd take my hands completely off of the mouse and keyboard and like do a dance really quick or what have you, and then go back to doing it. And then so it just evolved into this like longer production with lights and me standing
Right.
up and having like a whole intro to get people ready to actually participate in a dance party with me.
That that is amazing. So when you're saying you got started, was it like even when you first did it, was it like a redemption at all, or was it just kind of this organic thing that popped up?
It was a redemption thing at first, and it didn't cost nearly as much because it wasn't a whole production like it is now.
Right.
But it was a redemption that I thought of that I just thought would be silly. Where it's one of those things that just completely throws me off my game, obviously,
Yeah. Yeah.
and makes me do something that I have to focus on kind of doing, and it's almost hard to dance and play a video game at the
Yeah,
same
dude.
time.
Yeah.
So that's essentially it. It was one of those things where it was a redemption, but not nearly as much of a production as it is now. Like I've limited it to 3 times a stream, in
Yeah.
the course of like 4 to 5 hour streams. And it's fairly pricey channel point wise.
Yeah.
Uh, and so that's what it's turned into. But it was one of those things basically to mess with me.
Man, I love how you turned this thing that was meant to mess with you and you just embraced it and it became this long-standing thing. Because for those who have never seen it, it is a production, like Fred says. It becomes this thing where you, because you got the adjustable desk, right? So you raise the desk, you stand
Hmm.
up, you start playing the music, and you
Hmm.
start getting people hype, and then the chat, gets full of emotes, and then you just go for it, and it's so great. I think the first time I experienced that, I was like, okay, yeah, this guy's good. Like I got I was sold. I was sold. I'm like, all right. I think I followed during a Nudo dance. I don't remember.
Yeah, and it's just crazy. It's just like it's now been now and it's like a mix of different songs or a song. It's a
Uh-huh.
bunch of different dances, including the otso otso for the Filipinos out there that know
Yeah.
exactly what the otso otso is. A dance craze in the Philippines from forever ago.
Yep.
It includes things like that. It's evolved into me wearing TikTok leggings even during the production.
Yes.
Uh and then it's just gotten crazier and more fun and more hype, but it's all in the name of just being, just spreading positivity and really unapologetically being me and helping other people feel comfortable in doing the same. Like I don't very rarely ever have an issue with making a fool, quote unquote, making a fool of myself.
Right. Right.
But it's not to be a clown for everybody, but it's my purpose is not to be like, hey, dance monkey dance. I think it's more like, hey, if you have the need or want to start dancing in the middle of a song that you really, really like,
Mm-hmm.
do it. Have
Yeah.
fun. Be you. Like it's the internet. Yes, people are judgmental and whatnot, but heck,
Yeah.
we are in the middle of a stream. You guys have taken the time to be here. Like there is nobody judging you here.
Yeah.
So go crazy, go nuts, and I will be willing to be the biggest fool out of everybody here
Yeah.
so that people can feel comfortable. You know.
Dude, I think that's perfect. And this all goes back to what you said earlier about, being unapologetic about who you are and being yourself and encouraging others to do the same. And
Mhm.
I think that is really beautiful because I mean if someone shows up to your stream and they don't necessarily know that that's what that's about,
Mhm.
but going into a Fred stream, a Panfred
Mhm.
Noodoh stream with the Nudo house, uh, unequivocally, that's what the vibe is. It's like, hey, just be about what you're about. Do what you want to
Mhm.
do. I think that's fantastic, and I think the Nudo dance is like one of the greatest things I've seen
Mhm.
on
I appreciate
creators.
that.
So I appreciate that, and with that, among the many other things people can do in addition to the Nudo dance, there's also the R&B shout out. Like,
There is.
what's the R&B shout out about?
Sure. So, I don't know. It evolved. It was one of those things. I don't even remember the exact origin, but I think it was just me just messing around with voice mod really. And
Yeah.
there was a night where we would talk about for those of you guys who know of the singing group Boys to Men, there was always that breakdown in the middle of one of their songs where homie with the deep voice is like, "Baby, I've missed you,
Yeah.
and I need you to come back. I've missed you so much." Like it's like that weird breakdown in the
Yeah.
middle of like the song where like they just stop singing for that second, and homie with the deep voice is just like playing out the story of like this song. And so like that's where it kind of stemmed from, where it was like in the middle of like a song,
Yeah.
somebody's just randomly talking in a, like seductive or like deep R&B like voice. And so Obviously that was geared towards somebody. At one point in time, like the
Yeah.
dudes of Boyson were like, we are singing about somebody in the past, or maybe somebody we're feeling that about now. And so I think it was one of those things. I have an old video where I was saying goodnight to somebody, and it
Yeah.
was the background music before, like, DMCA things were like a really big issue. I played like End of the Road, like the instrumental, but Boyz II Men's End of the Road, and I was like saying goodnight to somebody, and it's like, I hate to see you go, I love seeing you here, and I hate to see you go, and in that voice.
Right.
So if I'm not mistaken, I might be able to just give a slight taste of what that
Oh,
is. So tell me if this is.
Mic check, baby.
yeah.
Mic check 1 2. It's your boy Fred Velvet coming at you from the Nudo house. Your
Oh my God.
dude, your man, Fred Velvet. I think you are one bad mother. Shut your mouth and best believe I ain't never gonna stop loving you, baby.
And it was just that, but in the middle of some music, and so
Yeah.
now it's evolved into, obviously still having the tunes,
Right.
but now it's turned into almost an affirmation of sorts. And most people will direct the R&B shout out to somebody in the community, to somebody else in the chat, whose birthday is that day, or they've just experienced something. They're celebrating a victory of sorts, or
Right.
what have you. Sometimes it's to inanimate objects, and they just
Yeah.
want to hear somebody talk intimately about an inanimate object.
Yeah.
So I have to oblige because they use their hard-earned channel points to make me do it.
Yeah.
But it's mainly it's now become a silly affirmation, which ends up becoming like, I've seen it in chat, like, wow, that was amazing, but also
Yeah.
really deep and touching for some weird reason. And so I don't ever
It
mean to.
is.
Yeah, I don't ever mean to. Like, I'm really honestly, chat. Like, there's no script or anything. Like, I promise you, there is no script. I'm mainly shooting from the hip when I'm saying all these random things. And it's almost like a small improv exercise for me,
Yeah.
but then turns into like this really elaborate affirmation to whomever it is, especially if it's to celebrate like a birthday, or celebrate a victory, or just someone wanting to show love to somebody else, or appreciation for
Hmm.
somebody else. Um, and so that's essentially what the R&B shout out stemmed from, and now is, I guess.
I love it, man. I think that with that, because when you explain it as that, affirmation, that encouragement, validating people, right? I think it's genius because, again, not unlike the Nudo dance. On the surface, it feels like, oh, okay, this is a fun little redemption. That's cool.
Hmm. Hmm.
But talking to you about it, and especially if you're paying attention to, what Fred's about, or when you're hanging out in the community, it's very clear that, oh, he's not just doing, Fred Velvet, the smooth voice over some jazz music because it's funny, although it is, and it's great. But
Uh-huh.
like, I appreciate the layers there, right? There's this layer of, like, yeah, it's a fun thing on the surface, just like the Nudo dance, but it also serves a very real purpose for your community and the people that are there. So that's really awesome, man. You're like an onion, man. You got layers.
I got layers, and the thing is, like, I've stopped thinking about those things when I do something like a Nudo dance, or I do
Right.
something like an R&B shout out. And I don't think, like, this might be the first time I've ever really fleshed it out, like, because it's evolved. Like I said, both of those things have evolved over time,
Mm-hmm.
as simple, just fun little tidbits that happen in the middle of the stream that are just absolutely random. But
Mm-hmm.
um, I think this is the first time, at least to this day, from the last time. Who knows the last time I talked about it? that I've been able to flesh it out and kind of, I don't know, I accurately describe what it's turned into from when it started. And so
Yeah.
I, in a way, it's weird. I don't think about the layers, but
Yeah.
now kind of talking about it with you, it's like, well, it is. There are layers there that I
Well,
just don't think about.
I'm glad. I'm glad that you got to put it in that perspective, right? I think that's the thing that is really just important for not just you, but everyone that, maybe hears this or kind of like here's the purpose of it. It really it really shows that to you, it's important that people feel comfortable and valid, or
Hmm.
validated rather, and are being encouraged to do whatever it is they want to do,
Sure. Right.
and to be totally happy about it. So
Yeah.
I'm glad for that. I think, I bring up the Nudo dance and I bring up the R&B shout out because I think those things are important.
Hmm.
I love it. So, dude, I mean, I was impressed. I was impressed, and you know what? To this day, in the months that I've spent hanging out with your channel, I'm always excited when a Nudo dance comes up or an R&B shout out comes up. It's like if you haven't seen it in Fred's channel and you're listening or watching this, like go catch one because it is great, dude. Man, with the Nudo dance, you mentioned that you'll even do it in the TikTok. You've done it in the TikTok leggings, right? And we've talked about this in the previous episode a little bit with Amish Ace,
Hmm.
but you have the story in terms of how that somewhat originated within the Lego community, right?
Right.
Are you like patient zero in the
I'm
community? Is that
I'm ba-
correct?
I am basically I'm basically patient zero. And
Okay.
if you'd like for me to elaborate on that,
I would love to hear this story. I mean, I've heard a
sure,
little bit, but I would love to hear it from PanFREDNoodoh.
sure. So, it was. I know it was within the holidays, and funny enough, at the time this is being recorded, for those
Hmm.
who are watching this later on, um, I just I did a Valentine's Day stream with Sassy Sissa Fox. So this is still within that week. It's uh and we talked about that, who was the originator of who brought it up in the first place.
Right.
So she had talked about how she had bought some as a result of either Black Friday or Cyber Monday sales. And what we're talking about with when it comes to TikTok leggings, for those who are unaware, is there a particular set of women's leggings that are notorious for lifting the rear end of the wearer, and accentuating the curves of said rear end. And on TikTok was made famous because women mainly would purchase this, wear said leggings, and try to get a reaction from their man and see what they would do when wearing them around the home, especially in the midst of lockdown where they had to spend some time with each other. So it was like this whole trend. And so thus the name TikTok leggings were born. And so she talked about how she had bought some TikTok leggings and she just got them and they were the most comfortable thing that she has ever worn. And me being hip to the TikTok trend was like, so do they do what they're intended to do? Do they really lift your butt? Do they make your butt look good? Not trying to be creepy, but I was just genuinely curious if the hype was real, because I didn't think I was ever going to find myself wearing women's leggings that accentuated the tush. And so I was genuinely asking, and because of the friendship that Sassy Sister Fox and I had, I felt comfortable asking her. And she was like, you know what? They are very, very comfortable. They indeed do make your tush look pretty good.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy with my purchase from Cyber Monday or Black Friday, whatever it was. And I was like, okay, well, that sounds fantastic. And then jokingly, I say, you know what? If someone were to send me these TikTok leggings, I would totally wear them on stream. I'm not gonna purchase them myself, but I think it'd be kind of funny if like I wore women's leggings that accentuated my tush and wore them on stream.
Oh,
And
that's so great.
I mean, just I kind of just dug my own grave by uttering
Yeah.
those words. And then of course, sassy says a fox. Molly was like, "Well, bet." And one thing led to another, and she ended up purchasing me a pair of said TikTok leggings,
Dude.
which I ended up wearing on stream. And people that were there got a kick out of it because I was wearing women's clothing and just shaking my rump in this butt accentuating leggings.
Right.
But the following nights after, it was Amish Ace who had mentioned on his stream that, dude, I can't believe you actually did it. Like you pulled, you went through with it. I was like, I'm a man of my word. I
Right.
will not back down from my my own word and me digging my own grave. And he was like, man, you're brave. And I was just for kicks and giggles, just to see what reaction I'd get out of Amish Ace, was like,
Yeah.
yo, if someone were to buy you TikTok leggings, would you be brave enough to do it? And he was hesitant. I'm not gonna lie, and I know he
Yeah.
was, and he'll admit to this. He was hesitant and was like, I don't know. And I was like, come on, dude, you gotta do it, man. You gotta do it. Like that, and I was like, I was kind of selling it too. I was like, they're actually pretty heckin' comfortable. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I don't mind, dude. I mean, I'm used to wearing like compression pants or compression shorts like at the gym or playing sports or whatever it
Right.
is.
Right.
But like,
Right.
this was nothing to me. It wasn't about uncomfortability. It was just about a matter of shaking my rump on stream.
Yeah.
But and he essentially bought in and was like, totally, you know what, I'll do it. If somebody were to buy me the TikTok leggings, I'll do it.
Oh man.
And so one thing led to another. I had the perfect color chosen for him, and everybody in the Lego brick building community knows how long it took for him to do the Lamborghini Cyan, which was a lime green Lamborghini Technic car, and it's how long it
Yeah.
took for him to do it. So everybody teases him about that particular color. Lime green is his favorite color. So I was like, well,
Mhm.
I'm gonna get him some lime green TikTok leggings. And so I was like, I'm sending you some.
Oh my god.
I'm
Yeah.
sending, because I had his shipping info from something else that I had sent, because we had a bet going on months prior in regards to the Giants and the Dodgers.
Mhm.
And so I sent it to him. He did it, which then led on over to Zach, and he bought Zach the TikTok leggings. Zach then purchased it for AZ Pinoy, who then purchased it for Marvelous Bricks, who is now in the process of purchasing them for Hagar the Great. So
Oh my god.
it is been
It-
what I've dubbed the Fellowship of the Traveling TikTok Leggings. And so each time any of us have received a pair of TikTok leggings, it's been a tradition of sorts to dance on stream with the TikTok leggings. And if I'm not mistaken, Prophet has cut a version of each of the times each of us have donned said
Yeah.
leggings and danced in them, and has an ultra cut of.
I'm going to link that in this video's description. But yeah, that's what I wanted to get to, because once all of you have done it,
Mhm.
there's always footage of it
Right.
around.
Yeah.
And it's become basically a meme across
Right.
a lot of the brick building community here on Twitch. Like
Right.
you can see clips of those dances of you guys in those leggings,
Mhm.
shaking your butts.
Mhm.
It's everywhere. I remember learning about I remember hearing about you guys making jokes about it in different streams, but then it wasn't until Ace did his turn,
Mm-hmm.
and then it got turned into an emote on Jane's channel,
Mm-hmm.
which people who are watching this live, they've been spamming the Ace dancing emote, as well
As they
as
should.
Marvelous Bricks also has one
Mm,
of him shaking it. So
as he should.
it's incredible. It's I just I it This brings me to the next topic, and I wanted to get your thoughts on this, because
Sure.
nowhere else on Twitch have I seen a community or a group of people really embrace like cross memeing each other. I've never
Mm.
seen that anywhere. Like
Mm-hmm.
maybe a
Mm-hmm.
little reference here and there online, but not to the point where like your face pops up in a number of streams as a redemption.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are your thoughts on all that? What do you think about all that?
I think that at its core, it's it's not even really a matter of making fun of each other or getting
Of
back
course,
at each other
of course,
or what have you. I think at its core, it brings a level of camaraderie
yeah,
amongst all of us in the all of us content creators within the brick building community.
uh-huh.
And I think it speaks volumes of how much this particular brick building community is not so much about competing with one another, who gets the best sets or who gets the newest sets first, or who can build the fastest, or who has the better camera angle to really display these sets. It's supporting each other, supporting one another, giving the community different perspectives on different sets, or different perspectives on different themes that Lego has so many of in their
Mm-hmm,
in their arsenal. And
mm-hmm.
so when we find each other in each other's streams, it's a level of respect, I think, that is not found in other Twitch communities. And
Yeah,
again, it just gives me a huge sense of pride that me and my peers, you and I can appreciate each other in just the unapologetic ways that we express each other on stream,
mm-hmm.
that it's not us making memeing each other for to make fun of each other, but a
Right.
form of respect. Like, this guy's got something that I don't have, that I would maybe, or is doing something that I would never do,
Mm-hmm,
or is so unapologetically himself, that I really would like to celebrate that this person is as awesome as I think they are, and
mm-hmm.
I also want my community to see how awesome they are. And I can only strive to be as awesome as these people. And so, when I have those things, when I mention those things, when I try my best to stay on top of every shout out to any streamer or any content creator in the Nudo house, it's not
Mm-hmm.
even about self promoting these people. It's a to me, it's a sign of respect, that I respect your grind as a content
Right.
creator, whether you've just started or where you've been going for a long time. And I
Mm.
respect the individuality that you display on your stream. It takes a lot, I think, to be vulnerable in front of people,
Yeah.
to have a camera on, or to share this, part of your hobby, and to share even just the day to day of your life. And so these memes, yes, they are hilarious, they're great.
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
have
Yeah. Yeah.
we have emotes of Amish Ace in lime green leggings, just shaking it like this, and you see hundreds of thousands of that circulating Twitch within the community. But
Yeah.
again, it's definitely, I see as a huge sign of respect to the other content creators, to one another. As funny and as hilarious as it is to watch, uh, to watch Zach M. Rutledge shake his rump, and all of a sudden a big fart noise plays while he's in the
Yeah.
middle of shaking it. I mean, it's
Yeah.
hilarious, but I mean, he was willing to do that in the first place, and not a lot of
Yeah.
people are. and I respect
Yeah.
him for that. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I have to hand it to all you guys. I mean, one, just be willing, like, especially within the context of the leggings, right? Like, just being willing to do that on stream
Hmm.
and then shake it on stream. And then, like, it becomes a thing where then it proliferates throughout the whole community. And if you
Hmm.
spend any time in the community, you see all that cross pollination in terms of like those clips or the
Hmm.
emotes or the memes. And I really like how you put it. It's not meant to uh put down each other or mess with each other or make each other feel dumb about it, right? It's really about like this mutual uh love and respect that we all have for each other, which is
Sure.
really, like, in my opinion, really cool. The fact that yeah, I mean, like, Jane didn't have to make an emote about Ace and leave it for as long as he has, right?
Right.
But that in and of itself is that, a sign of respect in terms of like, hey, like, yeah, this is funny. It's Ace doing this, but in reality, right? It's also like, hey, you should check out Ace because he's a funny dude. He's always willing to put himself in those situations, as we
Hmm.
have seen in a
Right.
25-hour stream that Ace recently put on.
Right.
Like
Right.
he was doing stuff like that all day, and it really makes me respect the community that much more. You know what I mean?
Sure.
In terms of like being able to see that I guess recognition
Sure.
across the whole like community.
Right. It's
So
very, very unique in that whether it's content creator or just viewer alike, like everybody talks about these things. Like, I can't believe, you know, Amish Ace did this, or
mhm.
I can't believe AZ borked his stream like this bad last night, and like and it's just become like
Right.
a like funny thing, and like you'll be talking about this stuff in like Zach's stream, or people will be talking about it in my stream, and it's like,
Yeah.
and then I, as the content creator, will chime like, dude, I know, I was there and it was great, it was
Yeah.
fantastic, and like it's just a very unique thing, in which the community is very much a community,
Yeah.
um, and we'll find each other in each other's chats and in each other's streams, and everybody will say hi to one another, even though it's not your stream. Like, I'll find myself in local brick shop stream
Yeah.
every morning talking about the Lego news, and everybody just celebrates each other's presence, like, hey, good morning, like, hey, you're up, you did it, like, you're at work now, I'm sure. Everybody like
Yeah.
knows all these even little like schedules about each other, like, oh, there
Oh
goes Az,
yeah.
he's working and twerking, like, but it's also
Yeah.
here, on stream. So it's a very unique community that I first came to Twitch for, when I talked
Mhm.
about the fact that I first came to Twitch for this sense of community in the Destiny community, and I
Mhm.
think has evolved again into a greater involvement for me as a content creator, and as a viewer of all of these streamers and content creators that I respect, uh, and to kind of, like you said, cross pollinate
Yeah.
all these people. You'll see these viewers on Twitch the whole day because we'll be hanging out. Like, I think I even said to you earlier, I was like, it's I think it was in either Zach's, I think it's probably in Zach's stream, or no, it was in Bricks and Minifigs Ontario stream. And I said,
Yeah.
it's as if I hadn't been chit chatting with you all day, and that's because
Yeah.
you and I had spent all day with each other on Amish Ace's stream,
Yeah.
and then we were gonna do this tonight.
And then
So,
we're gonna do this tonight, and then we catch each other in Bricks and Minifigs channel. Yeah, it's crazy, right? And because I mean, a lot of us work from home, or a lot of us
mhm,
are like able to like tune in and lurk, or just like even have it up all day. Yeah,
mhm,
uh, I feel like I know a lot of you really, really well,
mhm,
and it's really cool to see that there's this, I mean, Brother Jeff Photo in chat just said it's more like a family, you know.
Hmm.
I mean, than a
Yeah.
community, and
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of truth to that because you know
Yeah.
you chat at these people regularly. Like
Hmm.
I am in one of your guys' chats at least, you know, every day, you know,
Hmm.
for an hour or two at the very least actively
Hmm.
paying attention. And then you tack on all the time that I'm working where I have someone up and I can hear them while I'm working away for a larger percentage of the time. And it's incredible.
Hmm.
And I think you're right when it's like that's what's very unique about like the Lego and brick building community here on
Sure.
Twitch is that you
Sure.
can have all these folks who know each other's schedules to a degree, or they know,
Hmm.
you know, they heard about the latest thing that happened in a stream that happened a couple days ago on a completely different channel, but
Right.
everyone seems to know about it,
Right.
right?
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
man, I think that's incredible. A lot of it's really just I mean I feel like it's very inspiring in terms of like staying involved with the community and actively, you know, being engaged with it instead of
Sure.
just checking in. I mean, I'm sure you can speak to this as well. Maybe in your Destiny days or when you're maybe casually looking at other streams outside of this community,
Hmm.
but you often see that there are a lot of streamers who will show up in their friends' streams, but they don't have that level of connection that you
Hmm.
see on this community, right? Like you'll
Right.
see them come by, they say hello, they have some laughs, and that's it.
Right.
But like, there's a very meta thing about it all, where in this community, like if something big happens on any stream, everyone's gonna know about it within a couple, like a day or two,
Yeah.
like
Hmm. Hmm.
all the time. Like I hadn't even mentioned some of the stuff that we're doing. Like I actually try not to mention a lot of my stuff outside of my channel. But
Hmm.
yeah, everyone's like, "Oh, hey, you're doing that new show every week, right? How's that
Hmm.
going?" And I'm like, "Yeah,
Hmm.
it's good." You know, it's good. Hardly said anything about it. Like
Right.
that's great. So
Yeah.
I think it's great.
And it's just a testament to all of us who just support each other, right? I
Yeah.
know that um I heard a lot about it from Amish Ace. He was really excited to sit down with you. So, the last time you crossed streams, with somebody was with Amish Ace.
Yeah.
And I almost, I heard about it as much as, from you and your streams and your social media and your Discord. I probably heard it even slightly more on Amish Ace's channel, and him being really excited about doing
Hmm.
it and talking with you and sitting down with you, and again a testament to just everybody supporting each other
Hmm.
and everybody supporting all the different little projects and things that people are doing, and even um supporting those who are just starting out and starting their careers, who these
Hmm.
people are like, man, I looked up, I look up to your content and what you do on your stream, and it
Hmm.
inspired me to even stream. And it's always such an honor and a pleasure for people to express that
Yeah.
to me, or watch others kind of express that to other streamers. I know I always get really embarrassed, but I love AZ Pinoy for it, who is just like, if it wasn't for your off stream follow, I don't know if I would have never been introduced to the brick building community. But to have that honor of showing that outreach, that level of support to somebody else that is as enthusiastic about Lego as I am, if not more enthusiastic, especially when it comes to like cars or what have you, with AZ Pinoy, for example.
Hmm.
It's just an honor to bring in all these amazing new people, amazing and fun friends, to really grow this community, to really
Yeah.
show people um other streamers, other perspectives, other sets, other themes, like um even you said about me, and I always say it about you, where I'm just like, you know More has one of the most wholesome streams, and you have talks like this all the time. You said it earlier.
Yeah.
You have talks like this all the time on your streams, and I appreciate it so much how deep and intellectual it gets. And people, it's an honor and a pleasure for me to talk to my community and other communities about other streamers such as yourselves, who I spend a lot of time hanging out in your stuff, and I appreciate your content. And
Thank you, man.
again, and a lot of and I find we find a lot of streamers within this community who do that all the time.
Yeah.
And it's so unique and it's so awesome. And I think it's a really great way for even just the ones who don't stream, who are just, simply just viewers, for them
Mhm.
to find other people that are like-minded, that they can hang out with, when the person that they had initially started watching in the Lego brick building community,
Mhm.
um where they can find other people who are just like the people that they enjoy,
Yeah.
or find a different type of content that they didn't even think or knew that they needed.
Mm.
And so it's again just a testament to this amazing community that it is so supportive of everybody, streamer and viewer alike.
Yeah. I 100% agree. I think that is I think it's pretty incredible, right? Like it really shows, I think, the deep uh, connection that a lot of us have,
Mhm.
across all the channels here on Twitch. And I agree with you. I think it's inspiring. I think it's really amazing to not only see that, but then as time goes on, and I touched on this with Ace, you see more and more and more people popping up, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Whether it's people who have been viewers for a while who have decided to start streaming themselves, a la Scotty Rotten 68, right?
Mhm.
Or just people who decided, hey, Lego is something I've always been interested in, and I realized you could do it on Twitch, right?
Mhm.
Like, you know, the Alpha Dog, right? So
Mhm.
I think it's pretty. I think it's pretty inspiring. I think it's pretty special, because you
Mhm.
you don't see that everywhere on Twitch. And for
You
those that
don't.
are watching or hearing this, I know that we've probably gushed about the community, but I mean it's true. I think it's unlike many other spaces or any other spaces here, and I'm sure this will be definitely not the last time that I or a guest will say that.
Sure.
In
Yeah.
in 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 terms of all those people who are offering that inspiration, and in terms of the things that you see, I
Mhm.
guess. And you kind of asked me this before, but like what inspires you, what motivates you to keep doing this?
Sure, sure. I was just going to, before you asked that question, I was going to elaborate on that,
Oh,
and I think
yeah.
which is perfect because it's just that, right? It's the motivation and inspiration of others to to grow this space, to grow this level of positivity, of this support, of having each other's back like a chiroprac, like I always say in the
Yeah.
Nudo house, right? To continue and grow this culture of lifting each other up, when a lot of the time on other in other Twitch communities, it's definitely the other way around. It's breaking
Mhm.
each other down because of the
Mhm.
differences. And I think the thing that motivates me is continuing to grow this culture of lifting each other up, and not in the most, like, not in any hokey way or whatever it is, but I always say, um at the Nudo house, it's a community first place, and
Mhm.
I will stop and slow my build down, or whatever it is, to hear out the community, especially those who have been so supportive for so long, or
Mhm.
even if you're just coming in for the first time. Uh, and it's people like that who motivate me, who inspire me, uh, and especially those who continue and pay it forward, whether it's content creators who tell me that I started streaming because of you, or I
Mm,
started to get more into Lego because of you. And then I see that they are also in their communities, in their streams, continue this culture of positivity, of acknowledgement, of welcoming people, new people, to not just Lego, but to this family
mhm,
that we have on Twitch. That's very, very unique. And so what keeps me going is knowing that, although the brick building community is a small part, in relation to the rest of Twitch,
yeah,
of the internet, we are making a difference. We're making a difference in, each other's lives and making each other better people. It's a very, very tough time in which there's a lot of negativity, that surrounds us in political views, in views on sexual orientation, in your ethnicity, your
mhm,
cultural background, your religious background, whatever it is. There's so much division
yeah,
everywhere. And although it's a small corner of Twitch, or a small corner of the internet in which we can escape all of that, to provide a spot Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday whenever I stream, just for however
mhm,
long it is, to provide a place for people to escape that and just feel like they can be themselves. They don't have to hide who they are. They don't have to hide their cultural ethnicity, or they don't have to hide their, um they don't have to hide who they really are, and to just be able to do that and spread that message, I think continues for me to do that.
yeah,
Because so many people on Twitch now have provided that for me, that I
mhm,
can I can be enthusiastic about the really geeky things that I love. I can be enthusiastic about these new Lego sets that are coming out. Have somebody to talk to about a small victory in my day today, or have somebody that's there to console me after having a bad day. And we
yeah,
kind of just do all that for each other. And that's what motivates me. That's what inspires me. And if I have the ability in any way, shape, or form, even if it just means turning on my webcam for hours at a time on a random weekday, then
mhm,
heck, I'll do that for as long as I humanly can. And and if it means growing this community to by inspiring others to do that, or at least, inadvertently inspiring and motivating other people to do it, then heck,
yeah,
um, the more that we change our own given communities and our environments, the larger of a chain that this change can make. And although it may seem small now, I know in my heart that this change of culture, of positivity, can uh it can create, change, a bigger change, a huge chain reaction of
yeah,
a change in culture, where right now seems to be centered around a lot of negativity. And I
yeah,
hope that it can change with enough people who are not afraid to be themselves, to be unapologetically themselves, and let others feel comfortable.
yeah,
And so I think mainly when it comes to just my own personal goal of just trying just simply trying to do something, one thing, to
mhm,
make myself a better person than I was yesterday, um, that's what motivates me. It may sound hokey or whatnot, but I it's just a personal philosophy of mine. Some people don't necessarily know this about me, but, I've come from a pretty religious, background. I don't talk about this very often. We don't talk about religion. It's almost like a taboo, almost
mm,
on Twitch,
yeah,
which I completely understand. But just my own personal goal and ministry, my sense of drive is centered around relationships, around community, and letting people feel comfortable enough to just be themselves, and being who they're created to be, and
mm,
not being ashamed of that. And so that is just kind of my way to, uh to me, it's very minuscule. I
Yeah.
mean, I just flip on a webcam, I turn on some lights, which
Yeah.
in this perspective looks more impressive than what I'm actually looking at.
Yeah,
Um,
ain't that the truth? I feel the same way.
like if you guys were to see the like my point of view, it's not that impressive.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
you
same.
know, I've in some way, shape, or form have created the facade that it's simply different or more unique from other people.
Yeah,
Even, I was gonna talk about this about Nudo dances, even something as
yeah,
simple as nobody else can hear the music that I'm
yeah,
dancing to. You ever like see those like silent raves or whatever, and like
yeah,
people are like just like dancing in a park and everybody has like headphones on and
yeah.
it just looks absolutely bananas because it's just, you know, they're
It's
just
just
like
someone
grooving and
dancing.
vibing. Right.
Yeah.
That's me. But also going, and Noodle dance, fam, like at the same time, get hype, chat. Like from an
So
outside perspective, like it probably looks
it does.
insane.
It does. It's so funny that you talk about that, right? Because I, I live in a house with my family, with my wife and kids, and so my wife, who is in our bedroom down the hall, can hear my side of the conversation that I'm having with chat, and it's exactly that where she'll later ask, like, what were you talking about? Like, why do you keep talking about leggings? Like, what is that? You know, and it's exactly that thing where you're doing your thing as a streamer, and then you realize, man, like if no one had context or could hear what is happening in this room
Hmm.
other than me, then it looks or sounds ridiculous.
Right.
So
Right. But again, if it means helping people
yeah,
feel comfortable with who they are and who they were made to be, then I'm for it. And again, I'm inspired by that. I'm motivated by that. And
yeah,
watching people do the same, watching people be who they are, who they were created to be, and inspiring others and kind of just having this ripple effect throughout the community, is what keeps me going, I feel
I love
like.
it.
Yeah.
I love that, man. I love that perspective. Because I mean, as you said earlier, there's negativity, there's all this, divisiveness, things going on where a lot of people just aren't getting along, or they're in a bad, they're in a bad place where they're not feeling as positive as they could be, or valued, or have had any validation or affirmation. I'm glad that people can come to both the Lego community and of course and the Nudo house. And I'm
Hmm.
glad that you're out there doing that work. And like
Hmm.
you said, you kind of compare it to, some of like religious work that one would do. And I don't think that's any like I don't think that's any different, right? Like trying to spread something positive and do some good and
Hmm.
inspire others to do good themselves, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I see the connection, and I see what you're doing, and I recognize I recognize it, man. And so keep it up. Keep that up. Someone in chat was asking earlier, Disco Duck was kind of getting at it, in
Hmm.
terms of like dealing with either that negativity, or like how do you deal with that when if you see that in your community. Do you
Hmm.
have any thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, just negativity in general, I
Mm-hmm.
think, is definitely something that has taken practice for me to either tune out or be motivated by. And what I mean by that is there's obviously negativity that is just toxic, and you
Mm-hmm.
just need to shut that out because it's going to make you digress
Mm-hmm.
as a person. I always thought I just said earlier, uh, find or do something that will at least get you a step ahead forward of the person that you were yesterday. To
Right.
be a better person of who you were yesterday. and those negative things you just have to just nip it in the bud and do away with.
Hmm.
Or the other thing to do is to be motivated to make a change.
Yeah.
Be motivated to make a change. My biggest example, as a Star Wars fan, we talked about, the 501st and everything like that,
Hmm.
previously, is the running joke is that nobody hates Star Wars more than a Star Wars fan,
Yeah, I've
right?
heard that. Yeah.
And or they've called this, a particular group of Star Wars fans. I don't know if you've heard this term before, but they call it the fandom menace,
Yeah,
right?
I've
Right.
heard.
And so my thing is to lead by example and to find the positive things that people like about this particular franchise as opposed to pointing out every single negative thing that they hate about it,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of my thing is to kind of not swerve around the negativity, acknowledge that people feel that way about a
Hmm.
particular subject, that their opinion is valid. They have all the right to feel that way.
Hmm.
However, there is also always another perspective to look at it that is not so negative or that
Yeah.
includes everybody else to be part of the conversation that makes people feel comfortable with at least an open dialogue as to why they feel that way. So as far
Mm.
as dealing with negativity, I feel like that's kind of been my personal philosophy these days is either a nip it in the bud, know that
Mm.
if you address this now, it's going to make you take a step backwards as opposed to a step
Yeah.
forward in being a better human being than you were yesterday,
Yeah.
or have it motivate you to create change in your own environment
Mm.
and positive change, not to do anything again that'll that'll make you take a step backwards in being a better person than you were yesterday.
Right.
And so dealing with negativity is tough. It's
Hmm.
tough because we're surrounded by a lot of it. But it's definitely one of those things where you can be motivated by it. You can be inspired to make a change by it. You can really just recognize that there's really nothing you can do or say to change the mind of the person who's spreading said negativity. And you
Hmm.
just hope that one day, in some way, shape, or form, they'll learn their lesson and know that what they were saying and doing was not the best way to go about expressing that particular opinion or ideology,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
And also to find yourself a positive escape. And again, I feel like this community we've touched base on that is a
Yeah.
good escape from that to kind of just take a break from all of that so that you can refuel yourself, rejuvenate yourself, and nourish yourself to then be motivated to make a change
I
in
think.
in
Oh,
that way,
go
shape,
ahead.
or form. Yeah, yeah, no, you're good.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that's incredible. I think that is a fantastic way to frame it and observe it, because I think, especially in on the internet, right? There's a lot there. It makes it really easy to be negative or critical or toxic of things,
Sure. Yeah.
because you're kind of hiding behind a username, right?
Mhm.
And I myself have seen a lot of that on Twitch and
Mhm.
in, just the live stream community. And I I think this is why I get along with you so well, because I feel the same way, right? Where if I see that, I'm just like, okay, cool, I see how you feel, but you know, we can be better, right? Like let's recognize the things that are going well or going right, and let's change the thing that is causing this distress or causing this negativity, right? Like
Mhm.
if we can change it, let's change it.
Mhm.
And you know it's often, I've told this story before to you and as well as other people on stream, that people think my positivity in a lot of ways is fake, because I always come off so idealistic and happy a lot of the time, where you
Right.
know but
Right.
I can't help but not look at the world that way,
Mhm.
right? Like,
Mhm. Mhm.
there's a lot of crap out there. There's a lot of problems and negativity and toxicity. I I can't change it all, but I can change it within my sphere of influence because I myself refuse to accept that
Exactly.
and live in that perpetually.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I agree, and I think it's fantastic that you continue to drive that message of like, hey, you know, it's okay to feel the way you do, but you know, there are some good things to come. There are some good things to get out of whatever situation is happening, and how can we focus on the good or make it good and bring the good out? So,
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah, like I consider myself like the worst sports trash talker ever. Uh and and
yeah,
and sometimes find myself like, do I am I really loyal to the teams that I'm actually loyal to? Because typically, let's say for example, it's for the people that in the community in my community, it's no secret that I'm, a Rams fan. And as of
yeah,
this recording, they had just won the Super Bowl this past Sunday.
yeah,
And people were talking smack, and people were talking like, well, this is gonna happen and this is gonna happen. And it's because this person is da 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 yada yada yada. A
yeah,
lot of
yeah,
negativity, towards my team or even the other team. And so I'm the worst trash talker when it comes to sports. Because the entire time when talking about what I thought the outcome of the Super Bowl was gonna be
mm,
was, look, the Cincinnati Bengals got to the point where they are because of the team, because of the amazing team that they are. You
hmm,
know, they've got amazing players on both sides of the ball, and especially with a young quarterback like Joe Burrow, they're going to be good for a long time. But
right,
personally, I feel like, the Rams with, having as many, ex players on both sides of the ball have the edge because they're going to shut down what made Cincinnati as good as they were.
yeah,
Right? And then like it's like what kind of Rams fan are you, dude? You just said a bunch
yeah,
of like positive things about the Cincinnati Bengals.
yeah,
Like, what kind of was that trash talk, or was that you
yeah,
being like, whatever? And it's like, no, it's
yeah,
me recognizing the positive in what's happening here.
yeah, yeah,
And so I do that a lot with not just sports. I do that with everything.
yeah.
And
I
and
get it.
so I it's one of those things where it's like, even like somebody as a Dodgers fan, I get a lot of crap from Giants fans, and I got this initially from from Amish Ace.
Mm,
And whenever it came down to it, like as much as it pained me to admit like some of the positive things that I would bring up about his team, like, look,
hmm,
you guys got some heckin' good bats. You guys have been good for a long time. You guys have all these tools, but the one thing that you guys are missing and have been missing for quite some time are some starting pitchers. And he'll be like, yeah, that that's right. That is why we're as bad as we are. And you're not talking smack about them. You're just stating facts. And I'm like,
yeah,
yeah, because that's what
yeah.
I see. And I'm not talking smack about your team. I mean, I in some way, shape, or form, I am, because I'm supporting my team. But
Yeah, yeah,
again,
but
I'm
you're
just like the
so
worst.
you're in a way you're so diplomatic about it though. Like I don't think that's the best word for it, but like you're so open to like the other side of like the stance that you're willing to give it what it's worth. And I myself feel that a lot. Like I do the same thing where I
Yeah,
like try to go to make a point, and I start off by saying all the positive things about the opposing view, and
right.
they're like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "No, no, hold on." Hold on. They're like, "Are you arguing for or against me here?" I'm like, "Hold on." And I've been in so many discussions. I get it though, and I think that's what's so cool about your perspective. I think that's why you and I get along so well, is because we're very alike in that sense. But
Sure.
for sure, dude, I think that message of continuing to say, like it's okay to be positive. It's okay to embrace the things that you think are even objectively good in a situation that may be
Mhm,
still technically opposing your own viewpoint on a
mhm,
subject or a topic.
mhm.
So that's that's so good.
It's
That's
so easy to gain clicks by being negative, right?
mhm,
It's so easy to stir the pot and get
mhm.
people to argue against you in the comments or in your chat or whatever it is. It's so easy to do that. But let's face it, like it's exhausting.
Yeah,
It's
dude.
exhausting. Why? Why
Yeah.
exert all that energy for that? You know,
Yeah.
I would rather have it be easy, but make long-lasting friendships and relationships with people, and
Yeah.
then still continue to have intelligent debates of sorts or
Yeah.
conversations about the things that we like.
Yeah. It's okay to
Uh,
disagree.
right. And not have it end at us biting each other's heads off. You know, we
Yeah.
can continue to have a relationship of sorts despite opposing opinions or ideologies. It's not even like an agree to disagree. It's like I agree with the reasons why you like it, and you are also agreeing with the reasons why I like it, and we can
Yeah.
kind of just grow an organic friendship or relationship from that, you know.
Yeah.
And to not divide ourselves based off of our differences, but rather celebrate each other on our similarities.
Yeah.
uh and so that's, again, it may not, like, my channel or whatever it is might not grow as quick as someone who's got hot takes on things, right?
Right. Right.
um
There are a
but
lot of
my
people who do that too
who thrive on
on
that,
Twitch.
yeah.
Yeah.
But my mild takes ish or are creating long lasting positive communities.
Yeah.
And it's been a thing where, people will ask me, man, you've only been streaming for a year and a half. You've got, I don't ever look at the numbers. I very rarely look at, like, how many people are watching at any given time. Like,
Oh
you've got
yeah.
people, you got people watching you, and your stream is growing. Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing to do that? And I'm just, I hate to, like, admit it, and I don't want to, like, sound like I'm tooting my own horn, but I'm just like, to be completely honest, I'm just being me. And I think that people pick up on the fact that there is no fluff. There is not
Yeah.
any of me who is being fake, who's being fake positive, who's
Mhm.
being, who's just trying to be overly positive, where it's, I'm delivering an opinion that everybody wants to hear, or whatever it is, or what
Right.
have you. Genuinely, I'm being me. There is no fluff, there's no gimmicks, there is nothing that uh is tying people to my stream, uh or what have you. I just am just being me, and motivating and trying to inspire people to be them and to be themselves. And for whatever reason, it's worked. For whatever
Yeah.
reason, it's continued to grow the channel. It's continued to grow the community with amazing and awesome people that make up the Nudo house, and that grows every day.
Mm.
Um, but I try my best as hard as I can, despite how difficult of a day I've had, despite how great of a day I've had,
Mhm.
whether it's hard or easy, just to try and really just genuinely be myself. And you can take it or leave it. You can come in and be like, this guy is just too positive, and I don't know if I can do it, and that's fine. But
Yeah.
I build the content and my community based off of who I am, on the surface and in here, so
Mhm.
that people can grow with me, so
Mhm.
that people can stay because they are staying with the genuine Fred, with the genuine PanFREDnoodoh. Like, it'll be consistent as they continue to come into my channel that, it's not gonna be a different opinion, or it's not gonna be a different attitude from the previous version of PanFREDnoodoh that they got on Tuesday that they're now getting
Right.
on Thursday. They are coming in to like just the genuine me, and I'm not gonna change for anybody. um, Sorry, not sorry. I'm not gonna change for people because it's, against the grain. I'm going to continue being me for the people that like me for me.
That's beautiful, man. I I
So
I I think is that couldn't have been better spoken, in my opinion. I think a lot of people out there probably need to hear something like that. To be honest with you, with that, do you have any, I guess, further advice or thoughts for those out there that are trying to either get into this space or trying to build a community in channel and they're finding it difficult or they're lost? What would you say to them?
sure. I would tell them that, it's very easy to fall into this trap of comparing yourself to another streamer or to another content creator. And you will find yourself comparing yourself. What am I doing? I'm doing the same thing as this
Hmm.
person. I have the same stuff as this person, yet this person is doing better than I am. I think rather than uh, exploring what's similar to other people, I
Hmm.
think that you should celebrate what sets you apart from people. And although you can look at yourself in the mirror and have a hard time accepting that this part of you is different or undesirable, or um your self-esteem will get the better of you and say you're just not good enough, or you're just not handsome enough, or you're not pretty enough, or whatever it is, that I think it's just to celebrate what sets you apart from people and to not change that about you, because people will eventually find you and like the genuine you. And I think you should stick to whatever it is that makes you happy, what sticks to the content that you enjoy doing, and not have to conform to with the most popular thing, and not have to
Hmm.
conform to the most popular content. Um, that
Yeah.
people will pick up on the fact that you are not, or you are enjoying the content that you are making. If you are miserable playing a particular video game, people are going to pick up on that and probably end up stop watching you.
Yeah.
And they'll watch somebody else who is having a better time doing it, or is more genuine about what it is that they're doing.
Yeah.
And so, it's very tough. There's a lot of content out there, for people to consume. The means in which we put that stuff out there isn't necessarily conducive all the time to finding new people, to coming
Yeah.
across people who are like-minded, or coming across content that is somewhat similar to what you're already watching.
Right.
But, I think that as long as you are genuine to who you are, I personally feel like, you will succeed, in some way, shape, or form. If not in streaming, in being an amazing community member of somebody else's community. If not, being a great, uh, person that people can go to for stuff. If not, someone that people can confine in to talk to about everything and anything. Like, it doesn't even have to be about your content. People can come in and just want to catch up on their day, and they don't even care about what the heck I'm building, and I'm there for it. Like,
Yo, yeah,
by all means, let's talk. I want to hear about what you had for lunch,
yeah.
and how amazing your double was from In-N-Out today. Like, I am for it, because that sounds amazing, and I'm gonna go and get that same meal tomorrow. Like, it's just, it's
You,
one of those things where it's just like, heck, keep doing what you really feel passionate about doing,
yeah, I hear that.
and fruits of your you'll reap the fruits of your labor. It might not necessarily be the fruits that you're looking for,
Yeah,
but I guarantee you that as long as you stay genuine to what you're passionate about, you will reap those fruits in some way, shape, or form.
that is that is so true. And I think that is really great advice. I think a lot of people get lost in that,
Hmm.
lost in that comparison. I mean, I've been through that, I mean, as recent as, like this run on in the Lego community, I've been
Hmm.
there. So I think that's something everyone needs to hear and mind and understand that it's really about understanding, you know, one, not to compare yourself, but two, the things that make you different are generally the things that make you stand out and are generally the things that people will like you for because it's
Hmm.
different. And it's really easy to chase trends or try to do the next big thing that other people are doing,
Hmm.
or trying to kind of fit in. But when it comes right down to it, like, the path to, I think, being equally fulfilled and successful in anything you do, not just streaming, is really figuring out who you are, embracing it and owning it, and not worrying about why you're different,
Hmm.
you know. And in chat, people are saying, I find the streamer much the bigger draw than the stream itself.
Hmm. Hmm.
Other people are saying the Lego is secondary, but is a
Hmm.
talking point. It's true.
Hmm.
Because in your example of, people aren't there for the build, but they're there to talk about their day or what they had for lunch.
Hmm.
It's so true.
Hmm.
Like, I may click on a stream because I'm interested in perhaps the game or the Lego set that they're building,
Hmm.
but I don't stick around unless I feel like I'm actually involved or engaged with that community,
Sure.
the streamer
Sure.
and the chat. And I 100% agree. I think people don't think about that enough, and people don't think about the fact that stop comparing yourself, because
Yeah.
it only results in feeling bad about you and who you are,
Hmm.
when and the single through line that you, Fred, have highlighted throughout this entire talk is be who you are unapologetically, embrace what you are and what you believe in, and
Hmm.
and everything else is just
Hmm.
there.
Yeah, and I don't want to front either, because I know
Yeah,
that most people on Twitch will only see me when I'm streaming. Like, see
right.
my demeanor or whatever it is, for the 4 to 6 hours that I'm streaming a night. And I'm not gonna front and say that I do not struggle with that. I struggle with that every single day.
Hmm.
I'm not gonna front, because everybody does. I know everybody does.
Oh yeah.
Um, but I don't want anybody to, have that misconception of me that I don't struggle. I don't struggle, like, maybe sometimes visibly, like on my streams, but I struggle with comparing myself to to other streamers every day.
Yeah.
Like, why, we're doing the same sets. It's the same stuff. The stuff that I was talking about, we're doing the same sets, but I'm not nearly, not getting nearly as many clicks or views or what have
Yeah.
you,
Yeah. Yeah.
or things aren't as hype or as crazy, or the same people that I thought would show up on my stream are only showing up in theirs and not mine. Like,
Yeah.
this is from my experience, from my own thoughts, but I think deep at its core, it's heck, I've gotten to where I've gotten by being who I am, and as best as I can, staying true to who I am.
Hmm.
And I have to take a step back and look at what I've accomplished, and remind myself that this is where I am, and
Yeah.
to continue to be successful in the small way that I feel like that I have, is to kind of stick to that. That it's me being who I am, no gimmicks, no facade or what have you. It's simply just me, and that's what you get. If you don't like it, cool, you can hang out, you can, you can leave.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna stick to who I am and what I like and what I like to do, what I'm passionate about,
Yeah.
and you can come with along for the ride.
That's so great, dude. I love it. Yeah, I mean, people need to feel that. Like, people need to feel that way. You know what I mean. Like, people
Hmm.
need to. I've often had to pull myself, up from those bad feelings and have a similar pep talk, right?
Hmm.
Like, do what you do, focus on who you are. Throw away all that other stuff because, at the end of the day, none of those people have to necessarily live with you, right? Like,
Yeah.
you live with yourself. You
Right.
know. So yeah, very very true, man. I love it.
Yeah.
Y'all should be
And
taking notes.
and to
Keep
be
going.
honest, it's easier said than done.
Yeah,
It's easier said than done.
it
Uh,
is.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm looking at Scott who says growing organically has to be the goal, and I
Yeah.
I agree. But the thing is, growing organically is it's not nearly as explosive of a growth as you not necessarily growing organically, virally,
Mm-hmm.
with like one big like hit, and then all of a sudden, you find out that
Mm-hmm.
they're not like that one big hit that they had, and then it
Mm-hmm.
just fizzles out.
Yeah.
So it's definitely not the quickest way to grow, and it is not the mm, uh I don't know, the most conventional path either
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
Um, but I can assure you that I think it's more fruitful in more ways than one when you kind of just stick to your guns, that you grow organically,
Yeah.
you know.
I love it, man. I love it. I appreciate all this. I appreciate the message and for the lack of a better word, the mission of the Nudo house and Fred. I guess that leads me to this question, which is what is in store? What's in the future for Fred in the Nudo house? What's gonna happen next?
Sure, sure. Um, Obviously there is a lot of Lego in the
Yeah.
future.
Yeah.
As long as it continues to be, supported by what I can do income wise, what people will support for me to do, stream wise.
Mm-hmm.
There's not, as long as I can, I love to do it. It's probably something that I was going to do anyway. Let's face it. I was gonna
Yeah.
go home and probably build Lego anyway,
Yeah.
but it's so much more enjoyable to share it with you guys and to show you that stuff. So, I mean, I personally have, for example, been loving doing content for the Between the Bricks YouTube channel. It's given me an opportunity that not a lot of people have, which
Mm-hmm.
is to get stuff before they're released to the general public. And for me uh to have the opportunity to show that to people is something that I love to have help people get really excited or enthusiastic about it, or even point out some of the things that they might not like about some of the stuff that's going out.
Yeah.
Um, it's super fun. I find a lot of enjoyment in that, and in being as uh, positive as I can about it, but also truthful as about stuff as I can. So definitely more Lego for sure.
Mm.
I don't have any goals as far as I have to hit partner, I have to do
Sure.
this. Like that is like just a goal that's not even. I mean, of course, it's the goal of any Twitch streamer, really. I mean, if it ever happened, great. But if it didn't, um, also great, because I
Yeah.
know that the community that I have continued to grow since day one has been people that wanted to genuinely be there, that like me for who I am. So, what the future holds is hopefully more growth and people finding more about the Lego brick building community. There has been a large surge, and I feel like of people who have been enthusiastic about Lego, and
Mm.
it's fun to be at the forefront of like showing people what Lego is up to, what things that people can potentially get themselves into when it comes to Lego. I
Yeah.
joke about it and say I will enable you to buy Lego, but really genuinely, it's sharing in the joy and excitement and enthusiasm for Lego that I have. And if I can experience that same level of excitement, enthusiasm, and enjoyment with somebody that hops into my stream or with somebody else in another Lego stream, then heck, we're just further growing this community. And I personally love that. So that's kind of my thing, is to continue to build some of the latest and greatest, but also, go back into some of the coolest stuff. Obviously, when it comes to multimedia content, when it comes to Star Wars and Marvel, two things that I focus on and talk a lot about
Hmm.
on the stream, there's heck of a whole lot of that coming out
Yeah.
through Disney Plus and movies and shows and what have you. So to be at the forefront of that, especially with the 501st, and continue to make people smile with what I'm passionate about, which is Star Wars, and being the action figure rather than owning the small 6-inch version of it,
Dude.
um,
Yeah.
is something that I continue to love and do. And I think mainly is as far as what the future holds. Obviously, no one can be quite certain, but I will tell you that a conversation like this has motivated and inspired me to continue to just be me, and best believe it means continuing to do more Lego,
Yeah.
continuing to be positive about Star Wars and its community,
Yeah.
continuing to geek out about the latest and greatest shows and movies, um, and giving people a place to be comfortable and expressing their opinions in a spot of that's the Noodle House, quote unquote,
Man.
the best restaurant on Twitch.
Yeah, the best restaurant on Twitch. Well, Fred, man, I'm sure we could go on all night, but I think this was great. I really enjoyed this talk. It was really good to get to know you and what you're about and what really I think motivates and inspires you. It's just been it's been incredible. So thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It's always nice and refreshing to talk to you on your streams and have conversations like this through a chat.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have this conversation face to face,
Face to
uh,
face. Yeah.
and
Yeah,
and
yeah.
involve others, and hopefully motivate others to just stay, as Fred Velvet would probably put it, to stay sexy.
Stay
You know,
sexy. I
to
love
stay
it.
sexy, to stay amazing, to stay being you, because whether you recognize it or not, the you that you are now is very much appreciated um, by somebody, by a lot of people, by everybody.
Yeah.
So
Oh man. Well, thank you for that, and thank you for those words. One final question before we go: who would you like to see go through this in the future with me?
sure, sure. We talked about this earlier
Yeah.
we talked about this earlier in the conversation. The people that had inspired me and
Hmm.
motivated me to kind of switch from going to being a variety streamer to doing full-time Lego content, the likes
Mm.
of Between the Bricks, April B, and Sapience.
Hmm.
Those three have were the people that rated into me when I was just randomly doing a Lego set,
Hmm.
and really welcomed me with open arms to this really awesome community. And I've just tried my best to continue their message, and I think it'd be really cool to have you sit down with them. There's other influencers out there that are really just igniting a spark, a fire of Lego enthusiasts to come onto Twitch and see
Yeah.
live builds as opposed to just the videos that are seen on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking of the likes of Jang,
Yeah.
the likes of Bricks O'Brien, the likes of Flynn and Richard, contestants from season one of Lego Masters, who've had the pleasure of meeting at Disneyland actually, and being on their YouTube channel. So I think those would be great, and of course, all our friends who continue to push the positivity, people like AZ Panoy, like Supercomputer, like Zach M. Rutledge. There's so many people that I can
Yeah.
just rattle off of the top of my head, but that's just to name a few. I feel like those are some people that would benefit from hearing what they have to say and what motivates them.
That's great. You've given me a nice long list to work from.
It's like, write that down, clip that so that I
Look,
can.
I'm typing this in, and when I listen to the VOD later,
Right.
future that's a future Amor problem. Um, Thank you again, Fred. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Absolutely.
Where can everyone find you?
Absolutely. PanFREDNoodoh strategically has been the name that I have chosen on all social media platforms, mostly Instagram, Twitter, and hopefully get more into the TikTok game. I've had a couple of videos
Yeah,
on there, and it's been really fun. It was fun doing that, but obviously Twitch has taken the driver's seat in that and content creation. So again, twitch.tv/PanFREDNoodoh. I'm sure our very amazing host will provide you with links to
yep.
find me in that way.
There will be many
Um,
links.
and then, of course, again, as I've mentioned, doing Lego set reviews for the Between the Bricks YouTube channel. You can find my reviews of upcoming Lego sets, and then the reviews of April B and Between the Bricks Dan himself on that channel, which is some top tier, amazing content. So that is where you can find me.
Love it.